Ooh, wake that ass up, baby. Y'all know how we starting this off with my music. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for joining. This is love. Yeah, you know, lately, man, like, I don't really know what's been going on in my head. Like, I don't know if I, like, love myself or, like, I don't know. I've been trying to figure it out, though. Check it. Yeah. I heard them say he on his Kendrick-ish. I really think they mean my penmanship. They take my kindness for friendliness. I know they hope to see me penniless. I keep it moving like a Michelin. Yeah, I'm changing rooms, no more fitting in. I'm too cold to feel warm again. Yeah, whether you like it or not, I'm storming in. There's money pouring in. I had to make it rain on these women, cause while I live life without a little sin, I won't be poor again. For the 50th time, leave me alone. Can't do business with too many men. And that's enough said. Bitch, I'm well fed. It's up to you to pick up the crumbs and get a little bread. I'm watching Walking Dead. I feel misled. Who knew taking a shot was the way to get ahead? This is love. Yeah. 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 Check it. Yeah. I smoke weed to make the pain fade. I can't cope any other way. Yeah, I'm feeling like another lazy day. Damn, when it was supposed to be leg day. Yeah, I've been searching for a little praise. Yeah, my mind been stuck in the maze. Yeah, I've been going through a little phase. I need to disengage. All I feel is rage. They all catching strays. It took me a long time to map it out, but a nigga stuck in his ways. Now I'm calling plays. Since they playing hardball, I'm taking it off the bat like the Oakland A's. I'm seeking Tampa Rays with a little shade. A peace of mind is the only food that I crave. I'm watching Walking Dead. I feel misled. Who knew taking a shot was the way to get ahead? This is love. Yeah. Hey. This is love. Yeah. Hey. Man, you gotta love yourself.
You gotta love yourself.
You gotta
man.
take a shot. That's the only way to get ahead in this game, man.
Only way to get ahead in this game.
Straight up.
Yeah. Ooh, wake that ass up, baby.
Happy 4th of July if you live in America. Happy Independence Day. You're supposed to be free today. So if you gotta work today, I gotta work today. But I wanna work today. If you gotta work today, I mean, like today is supposed to be your Independence Day. Like you're supposed to be free doing what you want to do today. So if you got to work today, man, I hope you want to work. If you don't want to work, god damn, you got to play today. But nevertheless, welcome back to another episode of Wake That Ass Up, baby. Y'all know what we about to talk about. We're going to make this a quick hitter. Y'all know what we about to talk about, okay? Going to get right into it. We ain't going to waste no time. We're going to jump right into it. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to talk about what we need to talk about today. Because if we don't talk about what we need to talk about today, we ain't never going to talk about looking. You know how they be doing that on like TikTok and those things? Like they say they going to talk about something and then it be 30 minutes later before they even ever say anything. Nah, I ain't going to do y'all like that. All right, here we go. Let's talk about it. All right, so we going to see what has transpired since yesterday. If you're unaware, yesterday the House of Representatives have passed Trump's one big beautiful bill, and now that bill will be on Trump's desk today if it wasn't on Trump's desk last night at some point. And of course he's going to sign it and not veto it, and it's going to be in effect. So let's see what changes are going to come to America, because it impacts every American and, to be honest, every non-American at the end of the day. So let's see. Y'all should be paying attention to this, because if you're not, you're going to be, man, shit about to change drastically.
One big, beautiful tax and spending bill.
Sort of celebrating like the biggest bill of its kind ever signed. and it's going to make this country into a rocket ship. It's going to be really great.
We're going to take you through some of the highlights of this bill. They extended basically everything that was scheduled to expire as far as the 2017 tax cuts. Back then, in President Trump's first term, Congress set all these tax cuts to expire at the end of 2025. Republicans really viewed those tax cuts as a huge success, and they made it a priority to remove that expiration date. The child tax credit has been $2,000. This bill will make it $2,200 and index it to inflation. The estate tax, they increased the exemption, so that's the
Okay, so for people who have kids, the child tax credit part should be decent. I mean, it's not a dramatic increase. I mean, we look at it right here. I mean, child tax credit, it's gonna increase 2,000 and a certain 2,200. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's a plus, right?
tax credit has been $2,000. This bill will make it $2,200 and index it to inflation. The estate tax, they increased the exemption, so that's the per person amount that you don't have to pay estate taxes on, to $15 million per person. Republicans really disfavored electric vehicles and
Wait, the fuck? Go back. Estate and gift tax exemption amounts increased from 5,000 to 15 million. Damn. Okay, that was made for rich people. I mean, god damn, 15 million. Shit, how many people got 15 million? Rich people.
$15 million per person. Republicans really disfavored electric vehicles and clean energy tax credits. Now, anything purchased after September 30th is not eligible for those credits. On clean energy, the wind and solar in particular are taking a
So if you got an electric vehicle, I know y'all like y'all Teslas. Y'all can't get them clean energy tax credits no more after September. So that means them last few months of the year, you're going to be screwed. Make sure you remember that. Last quarter of the year, you can't get them tax cuts.
hit in this bill. They're going to be phased out faster. The state and local tax deduction has been capped at $10,000 since 2017. There was a block of Republicans from New York, New Jersey, California in the House who wouldn't vote for this bill without a much higher cap. What they got was $40,000. It's a pretty significant amount. That starts phasing down once income reaches $500,000. This bill also includes some new items, particularly ones that President Trump campaigned on last year when he was running for a second term. One is no tax on tips, up to a $25,000 deduction for tipped workers. Again, you're still going to pay payroll taxes on those, similar amounts for overtime pay. It's removing income taxes on the sort of half part of time and a half. So you'd still pay taxes on straight time, but then the additional half increment you wouldn't necessarily pay income tax on, you would get a deduction. Car loan interest for domestically.
Okay, let's go back.
Also includes some new items, particularly ones that President Trump campaigned on last year when he was running for a second term. One is no tax on tips, up to a $25,000 deduction for tipped workers.
No tax on tips after $25,000 deduction. The amount allowed as a deduction under this section for any taxable year shall not exceed $25,000. So, I mean, that's a lot.
Again, you're still going to pay payroll taxes on those, similar amounts for overtime pay. It's removed.
You're still going to pay payroll taxes on those. So what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Moving income taxes on the sort of half part of time and a half. So you'd still pay taxes on straight time, but then the additional half increment you wouldn't necessarily pay income tax on, you would get a deduction. Car loan interest for domestically produced cars, you'd be able to deduct thousands of dollars in interest. The fourth is
What? Of domestically produced cars.
time and a half. So you'd still pay taxes on straight time, but then the additional half increment you wouldn't necessarily pay income tax on, you would get a deduction. Car loan interest for domestically produced cars, you'd be able to deduct thousands of dollars in interest. The fourth is a deduction for seniors. So The president talks about this bill making it so there's no tax on Social Security. That is
Well, you gotta
not
buy
in fact the
domestic
case.
car. You
There's
gotta
an
buy a Ford.
approximation of that, an attempt to do something like that. It's a $6,000 per person deduction for people ages 65 and up. Generally, these provisions will all kick in for tax year 2025. They are temporary. They go from 2025 through 2028, and we'll see how they go. We'll see who wins the 2026 and 2028 elections and how eager they are to continue those policies. Republicans were looking for ways to get more money for their priorities. So they were able to say, okay, well, we'll just take the agencies we like and favor and that Trump wants more money for, ICE, Customs and Border Protection, Homeland Security, the Defense Department, missile defense, those kinds of things, and shipbuilding, and just plus those up and add several.
Here's the issue though with it may seem good, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. The seniors get that bit of a credit or added money, or they qualify for it. But there's a cap on almost everything, and you can't exceed a certain amount. So it's not like you could truly work your ass off or finagle the system. Like you could only, yeah. It might not be as good as it looks. I gotta think about this a little longer.
$100 billion that are going to all of those things. One open question is what happens with the base levels of funding for those agencies, whether Congress, this Congress or future Congresses, particularly if Democrats have some more power, start carving back some of the annual money for those agencies.
This dangerous and extreme Republican budget will result in Americans losing their lives.
And the biggest point of contention is Medicaid, which is the federal state health insurance program largely for low-income people. One of the things they did is create work requirements. So able-bodied people will have to start looking for work or having work in order to be able to get Medicaid. Work requirements, among the biggest single items saving money in this bill. That's about $326 billion through 2034. You also see more frequent eligibility checks in Medicaid. And there are also changes to premium tax credits under the Affordable Care Act. All those changes will mean that by 2034, 11 million people will not have health insurance compared to what would happen if Congress did nothing here. Republicans were concerned about the effect of that on the providers. And so to deal with the changes they created, there's a $50 billion rural health care fund.
This bill represents, in the text of this bill, the largest and greatest loss of health care in American history.
Democrats have highlighted in this bill is really the contrast between the effects on low-income people who are receiving benefits from Medicaid and nutrition assistance and the tax cuts that go to some extent to tipped workers, but a lot of money is certainly going to very high-income people. So if Democrats win the House majority next year, you may see them try to delay or change those tax cuts.
It's going to add much more to the debt. And so I think without question, this is not a fiscally conservative bill.
This bill absolutely increases the deficit. The way that Congress looks at this generally is what happens to deficits over the next 10 years through 2034 if compared to a scenario where Congress does nothing. That's about $3.4 trillion, according to the Congressional Budget Office. That's on top of the $21 trillion or so in budget deficits that would happen anyway. Republicans have sort of two very different arguments about why they think that's overstated. One, and this is coming from the Senate, they say, okay, look, let's just assume that the tax cuts were going to be extended anyway. That's 3.8 trillion. And so really, if you look at it that way, this is reducing deficits by 400 billion. The other way that House Republicans look at it is they say economic growth. They argue that the tax cuts plus other Trump policies, whether it's deregulation, energy production, those kinds of things, are going to speed up economic growth and throw off more tax revenue and therefore pay for a large chunk of this bill. Economists outside of the White House are very concerned about the drag of budget deficits on the economy, and they're worried about higher interest rates and a growing pile of debt sort of counteracting that growth effect.
So if you want to, shout out Wall Street Journal for that video. If you want to understand this truly, I guess, at its basis, essentially, if you got Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP, EBT, any of that stuff, you better start figuring it out right now. You're gonna have to work 20 hours a week to get those assistance. You're gonna have to. Like that's what they're implementing, and it's happening this year. So like you're not gonna be able to skate by until next year, or like nah, it's happening this year. Taxes on tips, no taxes on all that stuff. That's going into effect this year. So pretty much everything is happening now through 2028. So you should probably get your shit together and start taking advantage of what's about to happen, because you don't want to be the one caught up in the drag and realize, oh shit, they did all this stuff really is happening. Now I'm stuck. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that. But what I'm about to do is I'm gonna do some more research on this bill. And then I'm gonna come back on another live stream, and we're gonna talk about this in depth, because I want to really speak about how I feel like this is gonna impact me more than anything, and like my strategies and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to use the change in this bill and adapt my way of living and things to benefit from it. 'Cause I think that's what people need to do. Like, there's no more point of complaining about how this is going to affect your life. Now you have to adapt. So how are you going to adapt to this bill, and how are you going to change the way you do things to make it most beneficial for you? And I already have some ideas based on what I've been reading and what I've been hearing and seeing. But I'm going to work it through a little bit, and then we'll talk about it either tomorrow or later on today. But this bill does impact everyone in America, so you should definitely get your life together ASAP. If you don't, you are going to be impacted, and you're not going to understand why. All right, y'all. It's your boy Leroy Mitchell. Happy 4th of July. I'm going to catch y'all next time, baby. All right, y'all. Stay blessed. Enjoy yourselves. This is a quick hitter. Y'all know it's the holidays.